Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So another frequently asked question is it necessary to dry the cuttings before putting it into the soil? Now guys, it's extremely important that you let the cuttings callus before you put it into the soil. Now again, this completely depends upon your environment, because there are some experts, there are some people on YouTube who tend to just do the cutting and then just tuck it into the dry soil. Now you need to understand, because they might be from an environment that is very dry, that is cooler, or either that is warm, but the dry environment is what matters a lot. So because they are from a dry environment, it might work out really well for them to put the cuttings directly in soil, because the environment overall is dry. But it is not going to work out for everyone, especially for people who are from warm and humid environment. If you are going to take a cutting and if you're just going to push it into the soil, there is a chance. Now when I'm saying there is a chance, it's not necessary that every time it will rot, but there is a high chance that it will rot, because your environment is humid, your environment is warm, there is a lot of moisture in your environment, and that can easily rot your cuttings. For me as well, even though my environment is dry, but as you know that I also tend to receive a lot of rainfall when it tends to rain during monsoons. The humidity is around 62 to 65%, which is slightly high. So in this condition, if I am going to do a cutting and put it directly into the soil, a lot of times I have noticed that my sedivarias do not do quite well. They get rotted, especially my Sedivaria letizia or my Sedivaria blue L. They tend to get rotted easily if I do not callus them and directly put them in dry soil. Now I'm talking about dry soil. So imagine if you're going to put it in wet soil, it is completely going to get rotted. If you are going to put your cuttings without callusing in wet soil, there is 100% it is going to rot. The stem will start to turn black. So for me, even though the environment during summers and winters is dry, I still do not take a chance. What I do is I wait for the cuttings to callus. As you might have always seen, I tend to let the cuttings callus and then I let them air root as well. So that has been working out really well, because initially when I started, I had no clue about this. I used to do a stem cutting and directly put it into the soil. None of the stem cuttings used to work out. And I have learned the hard way. I don't want you guys to do the same mistake. So at least now there is someone to explain what exactly happens. When I had started it like 7 years back, I had no clue how to grow succulents. I used to do the stem cuttings and directly put it into the soil. The very next day, or probably after 2 days, I used to see that the stem is turning dark in color. It was a very tough journey for me initially, because I did not have any kind of guidance. I was just like doing things on my own. I killed tons of succulents because I had no knowledge about it. But over the period of time, I learned, I experienced what happens. I started keeping the cuttings on a dry surface, and I noticed that they were not rotting, but the ones that I used to put it in the soil used to rot. So it all depends upon your environment and climate. But if you want to be on the safer side, if you want to be 100% sure that you do not want to rot your cutting, then just let it callus, let it be out of the soil. It's as simple as that. If you are so much in a hurry, then of course there are going to be casualties that is going to come along. So right now, all of my cuttings have been doing quite well. You can see this was the variegated Crassula that I had recently done the stem cutting, and you can see the cut has completely healed, and now there is no rot at all. There is a new growth, and you can see my overall cutting is doing excellent. My cutting that I had kept aside, if you remember this little cutting that I had kept aside, you can see it is putting out some little bit of growth. It has not rotted, but it does not have any roots yet, so I have to wait. It is kept aside. Even though it has calloused completely, you can see there is no rot at all. It has completely calloused, but there are no roots yet, so I have just kept it aside for it to air root. And you can see there are no wrinkles at all. The succulent is very, very fresh, even after so many weeks. Probably I think I might have done the cutting last month. I'm not very sure. I'll have to check. I will definitely put the date on the screen, because I have to go back and check on the channel when was the cutting done. But you can see the mother plant is also doing quite well. The cutting is also doing quite well. and there is no rot. So I have been extra careful. A lot of times we need to learn from our mistakes. A lot of times we do not learn from our mistakes. We still go ahead and do the same mistake what we do, and then we end up losing our succulents. Now for me, I realized that doing a cutting and putting it directly into the soil started to kill my succulents. So I completely stopped that. I learned from my mistake, and now you can see I have been doing quite well with my succulents. There is nothing that I'm doing extra special, but the only things that I'm doing is what I've done in my previous journey of succulents. The mistakes that I have done, I have stopped doing those mistakes, and now I am able to grow my succulents much better. So every time that you grow succulents, if you feel that you have made a mistake, probably if you don't remember it, write it down and don't commit that same mistake, because if you're going to do the same mistake, you will end up killing your succulents every now and then. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.